Hi, this is a presentation for CS362, the final project, and my project was to design a synthesizer based on the 555 timer chip, which works as a square wave oscillator. So the oscillator is located here. I could try to zoom in a little bit. This little chip here, that's the oscillator. It is connected to resistors, and there's a formula that you could define. You could choose the right amount of resistance to get certain pitch or frequency that would respond to a proper note. So I have used, so there's 12 sounds, 12 notes in the scale, so I had to choose 12 different resistances. So basically, since there's more octaves, there's like about 8 octaves that MIDI supports, I had to either make so many resistors, use like 127 resistors, different resistances, or I could just use the multiplier that would choose proper octave, and that would reduce the amount of the decoders I would need to use and transistors, etc. So basically, just using like a matrix way of combining those things, I was able to reduce the amount of stuff I would need to buy. So this is where the decoders are. Of course, decoders would all give like on all outputs, all pins, it gives like a high voltage, and the low is whenever the switch, the binary code switches, it chooses as low. So I had to invert all of these so they're opposite. So whatever is high is low and whatever is low is high. So now it chooses the proper, like whenever it chooses high instead of low, the decoder. Now the transistors are the ones that actually turn it off and on the desired capacitance and desired resistance to connect the path so it plays the proper sound. Now here I have MIDI input, and it's also being read. There's a setup, the proper setup for MIDI input, and I also needed a chip for it, so because it operates on different like frequencies, and Arduino was not recognizing it, so I had to add the chip to it. You could see it here to make it work properly. So basically there's a wire, I don't know if you could see it, the blue wire. I'm going to go slowly. It goes all the way to the serial input in Arduino. So the input is being read from MIDI and transformed into binary code, and that code via those pins from 13 to I believe 7 or 6, and they all go to the decoders, and decoders do the whole work basically. Arduino just is parsing the data that's being like inputted from the MIDI, and MIDI is controlled by the keyboard. Since I use the standard MIDI, any keyboard of these that you could see here are able to play the sounds on the synthesizer. As you can see, I have a keyboard already connected, and I'm going to demonstrate how it sounds. So we're going to start from the highest octave to the lowest. So we're going to start from the highest octave to the lowest. So here we go. So as you could hear, the very high frequencies are hardly used for musical purposes, although still some of the styles of music uses them. And another thing is that the keyboard itself, all the keyboards, since they have only limited amount of keys, they still support more octaves. So basically you could change between the octaves range here. You could go down and up. And basically this, I don't really have to worry about it with the Arduino, because I just worry about the signals being sent, and everything internally in each keyboard is being it's being processed internally, so and make sure that it sends proper MIDI output. So I could play from the lowest, although the range of the timer of the oscillator does not support so many. I mean, it supports octaves, but it just has also limit to what. I mean, you know, in general, the keyboard supports more octaves than just 8, and the timer basically just has some limitations with the sounds that could be played. So if you could hear, it doesn't do anything, but it starts here. This is like the lowest the timer could play. I believe it's 55. I mean, not 55. I think it's 22.5 hertz. So if you go up, and we could go higher. And it is off pitch because of, I think there's not enough of volts to support the sound. I think it will need like about 9 volts to make it, because as you heard, the pitch is going a little up and down, so there's some kind of a droppage either in voltage or maybe amperage or something like that, because it's not stable. Although you still could, it still plays, you know, proper notes, and you could still play the whole octave. But it's still like changing the pitch a little bit. This is something that needs to be in the future tweaked. So I hope you liked it, and this is the project for CS251. Thanks.